Hello everyone, welcome to Options with Doug, streaming live daily on Bookmap Discord and the Bookmap YouTube channel at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And I need to go through the disclosures. General disclosure, all Bookmap limited materials, information, and presentations are for educational purposes only and should not be considered specific investment advice nor recommendations. Risk disclosure, trading futures, equities, and options involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. As a reminder, the focus of my presentation and the Options with Doug chat room and Discord is options, order flow, the impact of options markets on stocks and futures, and the influence of market maker hedging flow on price action. I have a two-step process for trading, and the first is planning, and I use positional analysis, and I look at how traders and market makers are positioned in the options market and how those positions change from day to day to help develop a thesis regarding expected volatility and trading range for the day, as well as a directional bias. And I think position analysis is a new way of looking at the market. Many traders use technical analysis or fundamental analysis, and I think positional analysis, again, is a new way of looking at the market that provides a significant edge. And the second step in my process is execution. And I look at real-time order flow in Bookmap and real-time market maker hedging flow in Spotgamma Hero to confirm my thesis and for setups. And finally, serious on-topic questions and comments are welcome. And please post your questions and comments in the Options with Doug chat room in Discord and also the chat in YouTube. Okay, and what I want to cover today is first of all, just go over quickly a couple of news items, economic data, one that happened this morning, and then also talk about data coming up for the rest of the week. And then we'll go through the position analysis and then finally talk about setups. Okay, so first of all, news. This morning, Jerome Powell spoke he was in Sweden, I believe, and these are some comments on Financial Juice about his speech. Apparently it was a prepared speech, and there was no discussion of the state of the U.S. economy or a prognosis for monetary policy. So kind of a nothing burger, although the market did seem to interpret it as bullish, or maybe was bullish anyway. So that's the anticipated Jerome Powell speech this morning. Again, nothing of substance there. And then for the rest of the week, on Thursday the 12th, there is a big economic release. That's the CPI data at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time, and that has been a big market mover the past few months. So we'll keep a close eye on that. And then finally, on Friday, the 13th, consumer sentiment, University of Michigan consumer sentiment comes out at 10 a.m. So again, the big event for the week is the CPI data coming out on Thursday morning. All right, let's go through our position analysis. And this is the S&P 500 futures, ES, and the levels that are in play are shown on this chart. And I also have an SPX chart, and we'll take a look at that as well. It's very important to keep track of the SPX levels when you're trading ES, in my opinion. I think those levels are significant. So what I'm looking at here, I have two columns of notes in Bookmap. And the first here, this is Spotgamma Cloud Notes. And these are provided automatically in Cloud Notes. And they are updated daily. And they're showing primarily SPX levels and also combo levels. It would be a combination of SPX and SPY. And this 3900 level again corresponds to SPX converted to an equivalent ES number. And right now Spotgamma is using a 25-point difference. So they're adding 25 points to SPX to come up with an equivalent ES level. And the last time I checked, that difference was a little bit less than 25 points. And then I have another column of cloud notes. These are my notes. And the things that I'm showing here are first key SPY levels that are key gamma levels. And this is, for example, the SPY 390 key gamma strike. And you can see that it acted as resistance, here in the morning. And then the other level that has been in play today is the SPY 389 volatility trigger. And you can see that was also in play this morning. And then there's been also a cluster of volume around that level, and that's also the SPX 3900 level. So that's been a significant level today. All right, let's take a look at SPX now. And what this is these are notes from Spotgamma as well. It's not as convenient as the cloud notes in Bookmap. You have to update them manually, but it seems to work pretty well. And this is a 20-day 1-hour chart. And I have talked about this narrow range that SPX was trading in for about 3 weeks, and then finally seems to have broken out of that level. The top end of the range was about 3,900, and it appears that SPX may be trying to break out of that range now. And these red lines are the Spotgamma levels. So we can see at this put wall, for example, is at 3,700. And the call wall and the key gamma strike are up at 4,000. So if you have Think or Swim, you may want to try this out. This works pretty well. So this is kind of a bigger view of the playing field. Okay, so while we can see all these levels here, let's talk about shifts in levels as well. So there weren't many. The volatility trigger, and that is Spotgamma's proprietary gamma flip level, meaning that market makers' position below the volatility trigger would be negative gamma. That means that in that situation, traders are long puts, market makers are short puts, and they have to hedge their delta exposure in the direction of price action. And above that level, market makers would be in a positive gamma position, and in that case, that means that traders are short calls, and this is Spotgamma's assumption. So market makers are long calls, and they have to trade in against price to hedge their delta exposure. So that tends to decrease volatility above the volatility trigger and increase volatility below the volatility trigger. So right now it looks like SPX is trading below that level. And the other shifts in levels were the call walls for SPY and for QQQ. So the SPY call wall jumped from 390 to 410, and the QQQ call wall jumped from 270 to 290. And as a reminder, the call wall is the strike with the largest net positive gamma, and that can act as resistance. Traders may be selling positions, for what that's just one of the reasons it may act as resistance, and it works better for some instruments than others. And for example, the SPX and SPY and QQQ, you can expect the call wall to be generally respected, a good resistance level. Okay. So that is today. Let's take a look at the S&P 500 charts. And I'm going to talk about the absolute gamma levels. And this is from Spotgamma. And this is based on open interest, but showing call gamma above the zero line with black lines, and put gamma or negative gamma below the zero line and the teal lines. So as I mentioned, the put wall is all the way down at 3,700, and that strike is not really in play now. And there are more levels of negative gamma before that 3,700, and those should act as support if price is heading down. So there's the 3,700 level again, and then 4,000 is still the absolute or key gamma strike, and again that's the strike with the largest absolute gamma, and at 4,000 has been the key gamma strike in SPX for some time. And here are the SPY levels. So 380, that's the put wall, and that makes more sense. That should provide significant support. And there's 390, and that is the key gamma strike. And there's the call wall up at 410, and that's not really in play either, and that may be just based on a technical definition of the greatest net positive gamma. All right, let's take a look at some data. And as usual, I like to look at gamma notional. And what this is showing is market makers' position on the gamma curve. And these levels are both negative. This is for SPX and for SPY. And this indicates that traders are long puts, market makers are short puts, and as price drops, they have to sell futures to hedge their delta exposure. And as price increases, they can buy back those short futures. So again, in a negative gamma environment, market makers are trading in the direction of price, and that tends to increase volatility. And these levels shifted a little bit more negative from yesterday. So yesterday, and I compare morning to morning, these numbers are posted both in the morning and the afternoon, and I compare morning to morning. So yesterday morning, SPX gamma notional was minus 55, and it has shifted to minus 182 today. And yesterday SPY gamma notional was minus 869, and it has shifted to minus 1060 today. And let's take a look at Equity Hub first. So what I want to show is this shows the call gamma versus put gamma. This is for SPX, and put gamma is shown on the blue line, and call gamma is shown with the yellow line, and this shows a slight dominance of put gamma over call gamma pretty much throughout the price range from 3,000 on up. And it's a little bit more pronounced in SPY. The dominance of put gamma versus call gamma. And then finally, let's look at the Vana charts. And what this is showing is how market makers' delta exposure or delta notional changes with changes in price, implied volatility, and time. And the way I interpret this chart is I just draw a line through the green line that makes sense, and I can see the slope is going up from right to left, and that means that market makers' delta exposure increases as price drops, and again they have to sell futures as price drops, and they can buy back those futures as price increases. And then the green line is just showing how that it changes with changes in implied volatility, and that's the Vana effect. And then the black line shows how market makers' delta exposure changes with time, and that's shown for the next expiration. And that is the charm effect. And let's take a look at, we can look back in time and see how that has changed from more of a neutral setting yesterday to slightly more tilted to the left today. And then here's SPY. And again, remember that the SPY gamma notional was larger, more negative than SPX. So this line is more pronounced. It's sloping from right to left. It's steeper. All right, so that's what we have today for the positional analysis. And really, I would say not a lot to conclude, or at least from my point of view, for ES. No significant changes from yesterday, slightly more negative gamma notional. Okay, now let's take a look at some setups. Are there any questions? Okay, no questions. So let's start with some setups. And I'm just going to go through this list in alphabetical order. And I did post my list, this list right here, this watch list, in the morning, and it might have been a little bit late for some people. Let's see what time I posted it. around 10 a.m. So sorry, a little late. It was a busy morning. So anyway, I ranked it from the strongest hero signal to the weakest. And I'm just comparing the list, and this looks pretty similar, at least for the first few stocks, first 3, 4, Disney, QQQ. Right, so yeah, it looks like it's the same list. So this is what I posted this morning, ranked from the strongest signal to the weakest signal. And there was a question about this list this morning, and you can use it however you want. And I suggest using it as a starting point if you don't have something that you want to trade already, and look at your own charts for potential setups if you want to use this list. So I'm going to go through in alphabetical order. So the first is Apple. So here was the hero signal this morning. So I thought it provided good confirmation of short and long setups. And the best setup that I guess the last two, SPY and Tesla, I'll get to those at the end. Those are probably the best setups today. So anyway, there's Apple, and let's go to Bookmap now. Let's go to Apple. All right, there's a question on YouTube. Can we determine today's intraday move? I would say if you want to interpret if you're looking at swing trading, looking at the future, the Spotgamma founder's note often includes a bigger macro picture, and I don't go over that in my presentation. I'll leave that to Spotgamma subscribers. I'm focusing on intraday trading, so my focus is day trading. All right, Apple. So remember that hero was sloping down in the morning first, and here's a bearish setup, and this is maybe a better setup. Certainly the order flow is more clear. The reversal higher. Look at all the green dots coming in, and just above the 128 liquidity level, with a target at the 130 key gamma strike, and all the liquidity there. And there were some other, let's say, one other potential entry point. Looking at this range, the kind of the final shakeout, and then a break above the range. Anywhere there, or if you didn't get this first setup. All right, let's go back and look at hero one more time. So again, somewhat bearish hero, and let's zoom in on this. Then a little bit of a lead with a strong jump up. And traders were both buying calls and selling puts. Let's just see if changing the look back period gives us any insight, and not really, not that early in the morning. All right, that's Apple. And the next is AMD. And I'm actually going to go through all of these that I have on Bookmap. And here I thought AMD provided a nice divergence long. Notice Hero trending up pretty much from the open as price is chopping around, and you could have taken probably a couple of longs here, one at about 950 and one at about 1050, 1045, something like that. All right, let's go take a look. Let's see what traders were doing. So they're both buying calls and selling puts. Let's go back to Bookmap. And pretty choppy morning session in AMD. Let's zoom in on this. So remember the first setup was about 950, and the reversal there with the target at the 68 liquidity level. And so a trend break, a reversal lower. And another trend break and a reversal higher. Remember, Hero was bullish all this time, so I'm looking for longs. And order flow confirms it. See all the green dots here. Let's go back and look at the full day here. And again, the target is the 68 liquidity. So what my setups boil down to are levels, order flow, and hedging flow. And I'm looking at all of that and making a trading decision. And levels are round numbers, liquidity levels shown on Bookmap, and then Spotgamma levels that I'm showing on my charts. And of course, order flow in Bookmap is just watching the things that Bruce talks about. The bullish, bearish volume, that's shown with the pink dots and the green dots. Market structure, I like to look at trend lines. And then the hedging flow, of course, shown by Hero. And I like to trade in the direction that market makers are trading. I feel that that gives me like a tailwind. That I want to be on their side, not trading against them. Right, so that's AMD. Next one is Amazon. So we're waiting on that. We'll go back to Hero. Let's go to Amazon. So traders worth both buying and selling, puts and calls. Let's just look at the total line here. And I think the best setup was probably around 1045. And notice the steady climb in Hero after that. Let's go back to Bookmap now. So there was actually a short setup this morning. Let's go back and look at the Hero again. We'll zoom in a bit. So here's the short setup. So it starts just a little bit before price starts dropping. So a little bit of a lead effect as price was approaching that key gamma strike. And let's see, let's go back and see what time that first setup was. I think it so the first setup at 10:17, first short setup. So there it is right there. All right, so that's Amazon. Not really much here with Google. Meta, a better setup. Much stronger correlation here, easier to read. All right, JEC 1045 is when we, by we, are you talking about ES? Shook out a ton of the buyers, sellers, and reached the day's low right after that rejection high. So we'll look at ES in just a minute. I want to look at SPY, but we'll look at ES and SPY at the same time. So this is Meta. Let's go to Bookmap. So the key here in Amazon is really this call wall, 90 call wall target and all the liquidity there. So that's often the case as the liquidity stacked up at the, or higher at the gamma levels, key gamma levels. Let's go to Meta. Nice strong uptrend here in Meta. Price target, the 133 liquidity. Let's go back to Hero now. Let's zoom in on the morning. So a strong correlation between price action and hedging flow in the morning. And let's just see if we can tell exactly what traders were doing. And initially buying calls and selling puts. And it looks like they continued to sell puts up until this 131.50 level. And then as they started to buy puts, price dropped a bit. And then they started buying calls again, and price moved up Looks like around the 132 level. Let's go back to Bookmap. So about a nice strong uptrend. This is the kind of thing that I like to look for. And in YouTube, NAD asked, hi, what charts are you looking at? And I'm looking at Bookmap, in case you're not familiar with this. And I'm looking at futures. I've looked at ES futures, and now I'm looking at stocks, and then we'll go back to futures in a moment. So I hope that answers your question. The other charts that I'm looking at are Spotgamma Hero, and that is showing Hero stands for Hedging Impact Real-Time Options, and that is showing market maker hedging flow in response to traders' options trades, buying and selling calls and puts. And the next is Moderna. Let's go take a look at Hero. So strong correlation in the morning. Mainly with traders buying calls. And then as price approached the 190 key gamma strike, they started selling those calls and haven't done much with puts. So that may provide a little bit more clarity. So up until about 10:20, that was a good long. Let's go back to Bookmap. So quick move higher at the open. Again, the price target 190. It's not shown here because my C levels are, this has this upper edge of the expected move, and that is obscuring obscuring the 190 strike, which is the 190 key gamma strike. And I have 192 shown in red. Let me just check. Let's see what that, see if there's any significance to that 192 level, or that may be a mistake, something that I didn't clean up. So that's just something that I didn't clean up. So 190 is the key gamma strike, and that's the level that's in play today. All right, let's go back and look at Bookmap. Okay, so JE SAS followed Moderna dead on, exactly did exactly as you saw. I did cash out early though, reached profit target. Well, that's great. Way to go. This was a good setup this morning. Traders buying calls, an obvious price target at the 190 key gamma strike, liquidity. Nice setup. Now let's look at Microsoft. Let's go back to Hero. So this is what I was looking at in the morning. Please, let's go full screen. Looking at Hero rising up until about 10:15, 10:20, something like that. And JE says, felt more conviction with Moderna and traders' actions. Meta, I avoided. I'm still with a lot of uncertainty in Meta as a whole, and I agree. Meta can be difficult to trade, can be pretty choppy at times. And I think when Moderna gets going and traders are buying calls, that can be a great long. And here's Microsoft. And traders were buying calls. Let's go look at Bookmap. I'm going to zoom in just on this first hour of trade. So here's the first hour. Again, traders are buying calls. And price is making its way up to the 231 liquidity. So there were a couple of long setups, and you could have also, I think once this trend line was established, here's a long and another long. This trend break retest of the 230 key gamma strike, and then the final move up to the 231 liquidity. Now it looks like it's trying to move higher again, now to the 230 key gamma strike liquidity. Take a look at Netflix. Nice strong uptrend in Netflix. Let's go to Hero. So there's Netflix. Strong correlation between hedging flow and price action. And remember, let me just show this list that I posted. For those of you on YouTube, this is the list that I posted. So remember, Netflix was, at the top of the list. And what this is showing, this hero signal, is comparing the hero signal, the strength, with the last 30 days, and that's shown by the entire range of this slider. And you can see it here, in this grayer color. So that's the last 30 days. So this is showing that the hero signal for Netflix at the time that I took this was the strongest that it has been in the last 30 days. And that's shown by this dot here on the far right of this slider scale. And then it's also stronger than it has been in the last 5 days. That's shown by the colored portion within the entire range. So Netflix at the top of the list. And let's just take a look at one other thing. And actually it's interesting, the key gamma strike for Netflix dropped down from the previous day. So looking at that doesn't always work. So that's why you always confirm that's why I always confirm my thesis with order flow and hedging flow. And both were very bullish in Netflix today. It looks like traders are buying calls. As a stock trader, this is something that you want to look for. The reason is that as traders buy calls, market makers sell the calls, and they have to buy stock to hedge their delta exposure. And as price continues to increase, they have to continue to buy stock to hedge their delta exposure. Nice setup in Netflix. Let's take a look at NVIDIA. It looks like Netflix has been pretty choppy lately and been a little bit more difficult to read in Hero. I'm just going to skip that. Let's go on to QQQ. Much more of a clear signal here in QQQ. Much stronger correlation, easier to read, both long and short. And traders have been buying calls all day. And it looks like initially they were at least buying puts, but now they've stopped and started selling puts. All right, let's go take a look at Bookmap. Take a look at QQQ. And JEC, we're on the same page here. NVIDIA has been difficult to trade quite a bit lately. It does trend pretty nicely from time to time, but it can be difficult to trade, just like Meta. So initially in the morning, long setup, pullbacks to the round number levels, 270 the key gamma strike, and then on up to the volatility trigger, and then price makes a lower high, back down to 269. So let's go take a look at Hero again. So here is there's the long setup in the morning. Entries at the pullbacks. Then the reversal lower. So long and short entries based on following order flow and hedging flow. Let's go back to Bookmap. So again, let's just zoom in on this. Draw a trend line. It doesn't exactly match up. Anyway, price was making higher highs or at least higher lows. not a higher high there, but higher lows. Up until the 272 volatility trigger, then a push up to 273, then price moves lower, makes a lower high, back down to 269. Let's go to SPY. So here's what I saw in the morning. Let's go look at Hero now. Go to SPY. And this will be the same for ES. We'll look at ES too. So I saw Hero sloping down, making lower highs, and I thought this provided several good short setups. So let's focus on that first, up until about 10:45. Go back to Bookmap, look at SPY. So this is up until that reversal higher at about 10:45, and I thought there were three good short setups here. Two reversals at the volatility trigger. Again, remember, Hero is dropping, and the volatility trigger 389 level can act as resistance. And if you miss this one, this was a good setup. You can see the absorption here, and price reverses lower, and then finally the reversal at the 390 key gamma strike. And also remember that was the call wall yesterday. And liquidity right above there. And notice all the pink dots coming in at that level. So really three good short setups. Actually, four. You can take this lower high at the 389 volatility trigger. And then the long setup. Let's go back and look at Hero now. So traders are buying calls, and that's a bullish sign. And it looks like the delta here for calls is greater than the negative delta for puts. So we've got traders buying calls, and the reversal in Bookmap. See all the green dots coming in, and targets at the 389 volatility trigger and the 390 key gamma strike. All right, so that's SPY, and ES is just another version of the same thing. So here are the short setups. Again, I'm showing all the key gamma levels for SPY in my notes column. And here are those reversals that I just pointed to in SPY. And there's the long setup. And this was at ES 3900. That's what this red number means, that ES 3900. So Hero provided good signals for and levels. So again, remember I said I'm looking at levels, order flow, and hedging flow to make trading decisions during the day. All right, let's take a look at Tesla, and then there's a question about what about now? And that's a question on YouTube. JC asked, what about now? And what instrument? Tell me what you want me to look at. All right, let's take a look at Tesla. Let's go to Hero. SPY. JC wants me to look at SPY. So let's take a quick look at Tesla, and then we'll go back to SPY. Here's Tesla. Take a look at the total signal. And I'm looking at the morning session. So definitely bearish, and there is a almost always a very strong correlation between hedging flow and price action with Tesla. Traders, market makers, I think, hedge options trades in Tesla immediately, and I think that leads to this strong correlation. And traders were both selling calls and buying puts. And let's go take a look at Bookmap now. Tesla. So there's the session of the morning, and order flow is definitely bearish. You know, look at all of the look at all the pink dots here. So these small red dots, that shows a sell sweep at this like 122.50 level. Then aggressive sellers coming in with their market sell orders, driving price down, and ultimately to the 115 liquidity level. So a nice short setup in Tesla. Let's go back to Hero now. So I'm all the way out. And then price stops dropping as Hero starts to move higher. And traders start selling puts as price reaches that 115 liquidity target level. They start selling their puts. Just out of curiosity, let's see. So this is showing the next expiration which would be this Friday for Netflix, or for stocks in general, and that would certainly include Tesla, the weekly expiration. So the next expiration, puts and calls. Calls are shown in green. So traders are buying calls. And this lighter blue line here looks like that's the next expiration puts. Not a lot of additional clarity there. All right, so nice bearish setup in Tesla this morning, and then we looked at a lot of bullish setups otherwise. Let's go take a look at SPY again. And I'm going to change the rolling window period here to shorter time frame. I think 30 minutes is good enough. So right now it looks like traders are buying calls, and they've started selling puts. So the total hero signal is strong at this point. Let's go take a look at Bookmap. So SPY has been trending up since about 10:45. A little bit of a lunchtime consolidation here, and then started moving higher. Or around 12:30. So right now, it's up to you. So it looks bullish. Don't know where it's going. We'll take a look at ES. So approaching another resistance level, and that is this level right here, the SPX volatility trigger, which is SPX 3915. So I would, if I wanted to be a buyer here, I would look for a deeper pullback. And if you're thinking that 3915, SPX 3915 volatility trigger is going to act as resistance, I would watch Hero and look for options traders to start taking negative delta positions before I made any decision at that level. Well, so let's go back and look at Hero one last time. So right now Hero is bullish. And again, remember, we're on a shorter rolling window. So this is just looking at the last 30 minutes of data. Hero is bullish. And if you expected that level, the volatility level, a volatility trigger, to act as resistance, I would certainly look at traders taking negative delta options positions before taking a short there. And let's just take a look at VIX. So it looks like right now VIX has, oops, VIX has leveled off, made a low of 20.82, maybe heading higher. That may be a sign. Let's take a look at SPX. See if that provides any additional clues. So SPX at a 30-minute rolling window shows us that traders are selling calls and not really doing much with puts. So I interpret that as bearish. So this may be maybe a signal, a bearish signal. So oh, I'm sorry. Can you hear me now? Okay, sorry about that. Somehow my microphone got muted. So, I would just keep an eye on this. Two potential resistance levels here at the SPY 390 key gamma strike, or if price makes it up to the volatility trigger, the SPX volatility trigger. And let me take a look at questions. In YouTube, a lot of questions here, a lot of comments. And Floyd's Garage asks, selling their puts is covering or put selling? No way of knowing. So I covered Hero for SPY right now. And the important levels that are in play now are the SPY 390 key gamma strike and again the SPX 3915 volatility trigger. And the volatility trigger JC asked, that is through Spotgamma. That is a Spotgamma proprietary level. And Floyd Scrosh asked 39.15 support, no 39.15 resistance. That was noted as a resistance in the AM Founders Note, Spotgamma AM Founders Note, and it looks like it could potentially be resistance today. And sorry about the audio. I think that's worked out now. And Ancient the Architect asked, do you post put wall and call wall in the morning? No, I don't. Those are, I talk about them in the afternoon, but in the morning, I'll leave that to Spotgamma subscribers who are paying for that information. So that is, I don't want to give their information in the morning, but I can, I feel okay, comfortable talking about it in the afternoon. And yeah, 4D Drover says, yeah, you can, you can look at the order book, look at an options chain. I subscribe to Spotgamma. I get all the information that they provide, and these levels are part of the information they provide. So I'm way over my time. Thanks for your questions and comments. Thanks for watching today, and I will see you tomorrow. Thanks. Bye.